In one of the most dramatic and controversial moments in recent international baseball history, two of Venezuela's most important players have been suspended indefinitely following a deeply disturbing incident directed at none other than Shohei Ohtani, the biggest star in world baseball today. What started as a tense group stage matchup has now exploded into a full-scale international controversy that has shocked the entire baseball world. And when Ohtani finally learned the full truth behind what had happened, his reaction inside the dugout sent chills through every single teammate watching. The opposing manager has since sent a formal letter of apology, but the damage may already be done. Today, we are going to break down everything: the incident, the suspensions, Ohtani's shocking response, and what this all means for Samurai Japan moving forward. Japan versus Venezuela was already one of the most anticipated matchups of the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Both teams had arrived at this stage with momentum, confidence, and a burning desire to prove themselves on the world stage. The atmosphere inside the stadium was electric, with thousands of fans from both nations packed into the stands, ready for what promised to be a classic heavyweight clash. However, what unfolded during the game was something that nobody in that stadium, or watching at home, could have possibly predicted. During a critical moment in the game, with Japan trailing and Shohei Ohtani stepping up to the plate in a high-pressure situation, two Venezuelan players engaged in behavior that crossed every boundary of sportsmanship and professional conduct. According to multiple sources close to the situation, the two players, both considered key pillars of Venezuela's lineup, directed dangerous and deeply disrespectful actions toward Ohtani while he was preparing to bat. The exact nature of the behavior has been described by officials as threatening, provocative, and completely unacceptable at any level of professional baseball. Witnesses inside the dugout described the moment as deeply unsettling. Even veteran players who have experienced countless high-pressure international games said they had never seen anything like it before. The umpires on the field were forced to pause the game, and team officials from both sides were called onto the field for an emergency discussion. What made the situation even more alarming was that Ohtani, typically one of the most composed and professional athletes on the planet, visibly reacted. And that reaction told everyone watching exactly how serious the situation truly was. Shohei Ohtani is known worldwide not just for his extraordinary talent, but also for his incredible mental composure. Throughout his career, whether with the Nippon Ham Fighters, the Los Angeles Angels, or now the Los Angeles Dodgers, Ohtani has consistently displayed a calm, focused, and professional demeanor that has earned him universal respect from players, managers, and fans across every nation. That is exactly why what happened next shocked everyone in the stadium into complete silence. When Ohtani returned to the Samurai Japan dugout and was informed of the full details behind the Venezuelan player's behavior, details that went far beyond what had been visible during the game itself, his reaction was immediate and explosive. According to players and staff present in the dugout at that moment, Ohtani slammed his bat down with a force that rattled the entire bench. The sound echoed through the dugout like a thunderclap, and every single teammate froze. For a man of Ohtani's character, this was not a small moment. This was a man who had finally reached his absolute limit. But what happened next was even more surprising. Rather than letting his anger consume him, Ohtani quickly composed himself, stood up straight, and issued a direct and shocking instruction to every member of the Samurai Japan squad. He told his teammates in no uncertain terms that this incident would not break their focus. He said that the team's response to this provocation would not be words or complaints, it would be performance on the field. He demanded that every single player give everything they had for every remaining moment of this tournament, and that Samurai Japan would let their baseball do all the talking. Manager Iwata, who was present for the entire moment, later described it as one of the most powerful displays of leadership he had ever witnessed from a player. He said that Ohtani's reaction, both the raw emotion and the immediate recovery, reminded every player in that room exactly why he is the greatest baseball player on the planet today. Following the incident, the World Baseball Classic Organizing Committee launched an immediate and thorough investigation into the behavior of the two Venezuelan players. Officials reviewed footage from multiple camera angles, interviewed witnesses from both teams, and consulted with on-field umpires who had observed the situation directly. What they uncovered during that investigation made the situation significantly more serious than it had first appeared. The two Venezuelan players, both of whom are key contributors to their national team's offense and have been among Venezuela's most important performers throughout this tournament, were found to have engaged in behavior that went well beyond simple on-field taunting or competitive trash talk. According to the official statement released by WBC officials, the investigation revealed a deliberate and premeditated pattern of intimidating conduct specifically targeting Ohtani, which had reportedly begun even before this particular game. The committee determined that this behavior represented a serious violation of the WBC's code of conduct, the fundamental principles of sportsmanship, and the basic standards of professional baseball. After careful deliberation, the decision was made to suspend both players indefinitely, effective immediately. This means that Venezuela's campaign in the 2026 World Baseball Classic has been severely damaged. Losing two key players at this stage of the tournament is not simply a tactical problem. It is a psychological blow that could affect the entire Venezuelan squad's morale and confidence heading into the knockout rounds. Venezuela's coaching staff was reportedly stunned by the severity of the punishment. However, WBC officials made clear that the evidence gathered during the investigation left them with absolutely no choice. The behavior documented was described in the official report as conduct unbecoming of representatives of their nation and completely incompatible with the values of international baseball. In the hours following the announcement of the suspensions, Venezuela's manager took a step that surprised many observers and earned a degree of grudging respect even from those most angered by the incident. He wrote and personally delivered a formal letter of apology directly addressed to Shohei Ohtani. In the letter, Venezuela's manager acknowledged that the behavior of his two players was completely unacceptable and had no place in professional baseball at any level. He expressed deep personal embarrassment and sincere regret that representatives of Venezuelan baseball had conducted themselves in such a manner. He also made clear that the actions of these two players did not reflect the values of the Venezuelan national team, the nation's baseball community, or the proud tradition of Venezuelan players who have competed with honor and distinction throughout baseball history. Sources close to the Samurai Japan camp confirmed that Ohtani received the letter and read it carefully. While Ohtani has not yet made any public statement regarding either the incident or the apology, those close to him describe his response to the letter as measured and thoughtful. He reportedly acknowledged the gesture with quiet dignity, fully consistent with the kind of character he has always demonstrated throughout his extraordinary career. Manager Iwata addressed the media following the incident and chose his words very carefully. He said that Samurai Japan accepts the apology from Venezuela's manager in good faith and acknowledges that it took courage to send it. However, he also made clear that his primary concern now is the well-being of his players and the focus of the entire squad heading into the next phase of the tournament. Despite the shocking nature of this incident, manager Iwata was determined to ensure that it did not become a distraction for his team. In an internal meeting held shortly after the suspensions were announced, Iwata gathered all of Samurai Japan's players and addressed the situation directly and honestly. He began by acknowledging what had happened and making clear that the team's feelings of anger and frustration were completely valid and understandable. He said there was no need to pretend that this situation was normal or that it did not matter. It mattered. It was serious. And every player in that room had every right to feel the way they felt. But then Iwata shifted the mood of the entire room with a single powerful statement. He said that the best and only response Samurai Japan can give to everything that has happened is to win. Not just to win the next game, but to win the entire tournament. To go all the way and lift the World Baseball Classic trophy in a manner that would make every person in Japan incredibly proud. Ohtani nodded in agreement, and according to those present, the atmosphere in the room immediately transformed. The anger and tension that had filled the space moments earlier was replaced by something far more focused and far more dangerous for every team that Samurai Japan will face from this point forward: pure, burning determination. Iwata also confirmed that despite everything that has occurred, there will be no significant changes to the team's preparation or tactical approach. He said the lineup will remain largely consistent, with Ohtani continuing in his role as leadoff hitter, Seiya Suzuki batting second, and the rest of the order structured to maximize Japan's offensive potential against whatever opponents lie ahead. This incident has already sparked widespread debate throughout the global baseball community. Former players, Analysts and officials from across the sport have weighed in on both the behavior of the Venezuelan players and the response of WBC officials. The overwhelming consensus is that the suspensions were not only justified but absolutely necessary. Several prominent voices in the baseball world have stated publicly that the WBC organizing committee sent a clear and important message with this decision, that dangerous and disrespectful behavior targeting any player, regardless of their status or nationality, will never be tolerated on the international stage. There are also those who believe that this incident, as unfortunate and disturbing as it was, may ultimately serve to strengthen Samurai Japan's resolve in a way that no tactical adjustment or training session ever could. When a team rallies around its leader in a moment of genuine adversity, something powerful and difficult to quantify is created. Team chemistry, trust, and collective determination are forged in moments exactly like this one. And if there is one thing that every team remaining in the 2026 World Baseball Classic should now be paying very close attention to, it is this: Shohei Ohtani and Samurai Japan are angry, they are focused, and they are coming. What began as a shocking and deeply disturbing incident has now become one of the defining storylines of the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Two Venezuelan players have paid an enormous price for their behavior. A manager has humbled himself and sent a personal apology. And Shohei Ohtani, the greatest baseball player in the world, has responded with exactly the kind of quiet, fierce, unstoppable determination that has defined his entire legendary career. Samurai Japan's journey in this tournament is far from over. In fact, based on everything we have seen in the last 24 hours, it may be just getting started. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative and exciting, please drop your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear your reaction to this incredible story. And if you want to stay updated on all the latest news and developments from the 2026 World Baseball Classic, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single update.